Hello and welcome to our new video. Have you ever wondered how your cells actually create the massive amounts of energy you need to survive? Today, we are looking at the electron transport chain and ATP synthesis. This process is also known as oxidative phosphorylation. It is the absolute most important energy producing step in your body. To understand it, we need to zoom into a single cell. Inside that cell, we find the mitochondria. You probably know the mitochondrion as the powerhouse of the cell. But how exactly does it generate that power? Let's have a look closely at the structure of that mitochondrion. It has an outer membrane that acts as a skin. Inside that, it has a highly folded inner membrane. These folds are called cristae. The space between the outer and inner membranes is called the intermembrane space. The fluid-filled core inside the inner membrane is called the mitochondrial matrix. This double membrane setup is absolutely critical for making energy. Embedded right inside that inner membrane is the electron transport chain. The chain consists of a series of large protein complexes. There are 4 main complexes, numbered with Roman numerals. We have complex 1, complex 2, complex 3, and complex 4. There are also 2 mobile shuttles that carry things between these giant complexes. The first shuttle is the coenzyme Q, also known as ubiquinone. The second shuttle is cytochrome C. And finally, sitting at the end of the line is the massive enzyme ATP synthase. Think of the electron transport chain as an electrical circuit. It needs a power source to get started. The power comes from the food you eat. Earlier stages of cellular respiration, like glycolysis and the Krebs cycle, broke down your food. They extracted high-energy electrons from those food molecules. But electrons can't just float around the cell safely. They need to be transported by special carrier molecules. The 2 main electron carriers are NADH and FADH2. Think of NADH and FADH2 as fully charged delivery trucks. Their entire job is to drop off their high-energy electrons at the inner mitochondrial membrane. Let's watch an NADH molecule approach the membrane. NADH heads straight for complex 1. Complex 1 is a massive protein that stretches all the way through the inner membrane. NADH docks at a specific binding site on the matrix side of complex 1. It releases 2 high-energy electrons into the complex. When NADH drops off these electrons, it also loses a proton. It becomes NAD+. The NAD+ is the empty delivery truck. It floats back into the matrix to be recharged by Krebs cycle later. Now, let's follow those 2 electrons inside complex 1. They don't just sit there. They jump from one cluster of iron and sulfur to another. Every time they jump, they release a tiny bit of energy. Complex 1 uses this energy to undergo a change in its physical shape. This shape change acts like a pump. Complex 1 grabs 4 protons, also known as hydrogen ions, from the matrix. It pumps these 4 protons across the membrane up into the intermembrane space. The electrons are just the fuel for the proton pumps. After powering complex 1, the 2 electrons are picked up by our first mobile shuttle, coenzyme Q. Coenzyme Q is a hydrophobic molecule which can slide easily through the lipid core of the membrane. But wait, what about our other carrier truck FADH2? FADH2 skips complex 1 completely. Instead, it docks at complex 2. Complex 2 is much smaller and does not stretch all the way through the membrane. FADH2 drops off its 2 electrons at complex 2 and becomes FAD. Because complex 2 is small, it does not act as proton pump. No protons are moved across the membrane at this step. The electrons from complex 2 are also picked up by coenzyme Q. So, coenzyme Q gathers electrons from both complex 1 and complex 2. Coenzyme Q then travels through the membrane to deliver these electrons to complex 3. Complex 3 is our second major proton pump. The electrons enter complex 3 and jump through its ion-containing heme groups. As they release more energy, complex 3 changes shape. It uses this energy to pump 4 more protons from the matrix into the intermembrane space. The electrons are losing energy, but their journey isn't over. They are passed on to our second mobile shuttle, cytochrome C. Cytochrome C is a small, water-soluble protein. It slides along the top surface of the inner membrane facing the intermembrane space. Cytochrome C carries the electrons one by one to the final complex, complex 4. Complex 4 is the last stop on the electron highway. The electrons pass through copper and iron centers inside complex 4. This powers one final pumping action. Complex 4 pumps 2 more protons into the intermembrane space. But now we have a problem. The electrons are sitting at the end of the complex 4. They block the path for new electrons. If they stay there, the whole chain will shut down. This is where oxygen comes in. This is the exact reason why you breathe. An oxygen molecule arrives at complex 4. Oxygen is highly electronegative, meaning it is incredibly hungry for electrons. It acts as a powerful magnet. Oxygen pulls those spent electrons out of complex 4. To stabilize itself, the oxygen also grabs a few protons from the matrix. When oxygen, electrons, and protons combine, they form a harmless byproduct, which is water. The formation of water clears the chain, allowing the process to continue running seamlessly. Now, we have pumped a massive amount of protons into the intermembrane space. The intermembrane space is now packed tightly with protons. The matrix, on the other hand, has very few protons left. This creates an electrochemical gradient. It is a chemical gradient because there is a high concentration of protons on one side. It is an electrical gradient because protons carry a positive charge. So, The intermembrane space becomes highly acidic and positively charged. The matrix becomes slightly alkaline and negatively charged. Positive charges strongly repel each other. They want to rush back down into the matrix to achieve balance. This pent-up energy is called the proton motive force. There is only one way back in. They must pass through a specialized turbine called ATP synthase. ATP synthase or complex 5 functions like a literal microscopic rotary motor. Watch our video on the ATP synthase to see how it works. Briefly, one by one, protons flow through like water, turning a water wheel. This flow of protons down their gradient is called chemiosmosis. The F0 rotor spins inside the membrane. The F1 knob is held completely still by a separate stator piece. When the protons flow in, the F1 knob grabs a molecule of ADP and a free phosphate group floating in the matrix and convert them to ATP. It takes about 3 to 4 protons flowing through to create a single ATP. Since one NADH pumps 10 protons across the chain, it provides enough gradient power to make about 2.5 ATP molecules. FADH2 only pumps 6 protons, so it creates about 1.5 ATP molecules. A single glucose molecule can ultimately yield up to 32 ATP through this process. This ATP is then shipped out of the mitochondria. It goes on to power everything you do.